The Astros did not deliver last night.
They did not.
We basically didn't do too well. I'm not going to use the word hammered because I'm still proud of our boys. But I've got some sort of feelings on that in relation to the Major League Baseball Association basically stated that they couldn't have the roof open. Now, I personally believe...
They couldn't have it open, or they had to have it open?
No, they wouldn't let them have it open. The Major League Baseball Association decided for them not to have the roof open.
Oh, this whole time I thought you said the opposite.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You said the opposite a few minutes ago.
No. They made them have the roof open. They made them have the roof open.
Okay.
Now, as a past Olympian, I will tell you that it's them fine points that make such a huge difference. For example, and I've just been told that it's not a fair comparison. I believe it is, because I think what you've got to do is to focus on... It's them minor points that make such a difference in a performance, whether it be a world performance or whether it is... And I'm not making excuse for the boys of the Houston Astros. I'm not going to call it Rounders this morning because, I'll be honest with you, I've really got into it this week. But, for the quality of players that we've got, one, I think perhaps they should have done a little bit better. But when you turn around and you say that, the Major League Baseball will turn around and say that the roof has to be open, I really would like an explanation from somebody to say why it needs to be open, because a lot of the experts are saying that it makes a difference when the roof is closed. One, because it's a louder noise. Two, because it's air conditioned and the ball reacts different in a dry.
Hey, Mia. Hey, Len.
Environment. And I this morning when I came in, I actually came in late because I was dealing with something in the office. But when I came in and I said to James, we've got to talk about the Astros. I really believe, as a past Olympian, here's the deal. When we used to go and perform at a World Championship, a European Championship, or Olympic Championship, but we used to get 3 practices. The first practice that we had was to basically go up there and see what texture the ice was, whether it's soft ice, whether it's sort of medium ice, or whether it's a hard ice. The hockey guys always liked hard ice. Now, it makes an infinite difference in ice skating, because when it's soft, we even had rather than blade having an equal cut, we would maybe, because it's so specialist, getting somebody to, cut your blade, it's so specialist, we would get somebody so the inner edge was actually a little bit deeper, which would mean that we could cut into the ice a little bit more because the ice is softer, and at the same time, we could get a deeper edge, which we could get better marks for. Now, I feel it's very unfair on the Astros last night for the Major League Baseball, to come in and basically say, okay, when you play, you've got to have the roof open. And the reason why I say that is because the air's drier, so when you pitch in that ball, it's going to react different. The noise so much I don't go for, but I'm sure it's going to make some sort of difference with the infinite differences that we're making. But the statistics show that this year, the Astros have only had that roof open 5 times. And some of the experts are saying that it does make a difference. But it makes a difference on the way the ball reacts from the pitching and everything else. So I really feel that it tilted, I really feel there was a bias towards the Astro Braves. Now, whether that's because of, when we was, cheating, was it in 2017, James?
Accused of cheating, yes.
Accused of cheating.
And conceded, yeah.
And one of the other conversations that I spoke to Jack and I spoke to James the other day, because, well, all the teams do it. So we were the honest guys. we got kicked up the butt. All right. Well, if that's gone on to me, that should never have happened. If that goes on, use it as an opportunity to, go throughout the whole sport. And if that's been going on, and personally, I don't see, what's illegal if they're making signs and they know where the ball's being thrown. I mean, I don't know very, very little about this sport, apart from they run round. How many bases is it? 4?
Well,
yeah, 3 bases, and then you have a home,
Yeah.
So, but I just can't understand. I can understand why. Obviously, there's 2 sides to it. I understand why the Major League Baseball are making a ruling saying, well, the roof's got to be open. But that's not Astros' fault. There's no roof in Atlanta at the Braves. And at the same time, my feeling is that Major League Baseball, they should want the 2 teams to play to the maximum to make it exciting for the spectators. And to me, that's showing bias by saying, no, you can't have that roof open. Because to get to that point, the Astros, all right, have played as a majority with the roof closed. So obviously, to me, they play better with the roof closed. So to make it exciting, all right, now you can argue the point like you said earlier on, that, okay, well, when it was the Astros before, the Braves won a game. Okay? And the Astros won a game. And then when it went to Atlanta, the Astros won a game. Yeah. You can argue that. But to me, all right, I still think that if the Astros wanted the roof closed, I think they should be able to have it closed.
Well, quite frankly, if whoever owns that building wanted it closed.
It's the MLB. So I was actually reading about it while you were talking about it. The MLB in postseason determines that stuff.
Okay. So to the point that I was making.
So was it a policy, Jack?
Yeah, it's a policy. The MLB gets to decide.
Okay.
Right.
But go on, James. Wait, James was trying to say something.
Let me finish this thought. Game 1, we lost in our building with the roof closed.
Correct.
Game 2, we won in our building with the roof open. And then we went to Atlanta. Open roofs, where we took a couple games there from those guys. Took at least one game from those guys. They won the 2 other ones. Home field advantage exists. I mean, it's just there. You're going to have your crowd. You're going to have, or what is it?
Baby girl.
Fenway Park. I think they say that the people, that's where the most home runs might be hit, because the wall, although it's tall, it's a short distance. There's no sour grapes here in Houston. Congrats to the Braves.
Congratulations.
Y'all won. And really, I'm accepting it more because the last time the Atlanta Braves won the World Series
was 1995.
95. And you know what else happened that year? My Cowboys won the Super Bowl. So, you know what? I say, if history repeats itself, let the Braves have what they have. And
no. I'm not playing sour grapes. All I'm saying is I don't believe that Major League Baseball should be able. I don't think they're making it exciting for the fans by imposing things like that, because just as much as you say to me initially on the first 2 games that the Atlanta won 1 game, all right, and then the Astros won the other game, that plays into it just as much as what you're saying.
Right. But it's the opposite of what they're
But what I'm saying is at that infinite point, all right, when you look at the statistics, that roof has only been open 5 times throughout the season.
I mean, in a professional sport, if that is such a big factor for you, then I don't think you're as good at the game than you say you are.
Yeah.
Because no one's disputing the fact that those points affect the game, but you as a professional athlete, you have to be prepared for
all conditions,
whatever happens.
Absolutely.
And
I agree.
Your ankle might break when you're running to first base. You have to choose as an athlete if I suck it up or if I sit out the rest of the game.
But at the same time,
The levels of performance, like I told you, at that level are so infinite between the difference of winning and losing. I've experienced that myself as a sports person,
and as a professional athlete.
And that's part of the point of of the whole. But what my point is, all right, there's fors and against. I agree with you. I'm not just talking about the Astros. I'm talking about future baseball games. Because I don't think that the Major League Baseball should be able to come in and say, no, your roof's open tonight.
Well, that's more your argument. You don't think they should have the control of it.
It's nothing to do with the Braves and me sour grapes and all that. All I'm saying is I don't think the Major League Baseball should have that power and control to come in at the last minute and make that decision.
But if the MLB isn't making that decision, who's making it?
Well, I think there's other ways you could do it. Even if it's a coin toss. If one side says they want it open, another side says they want it closed.
But to open
then
that roof,
look, there was two games left.
But to open a roof takes like 2 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah. Right? No, I know, but there was two games. Why couldn't you have one open and one closed?
Because it's there might not be a second game.
But that's my point. If you have one that's closed and then it goes to another game, a seventh game.
But how do you flip a coin and then wait for a roof to open 3 hours?
To do it. I'm not saying I know the answers. All I'm saying is, regardless how you look at it, to me, it's an unfair advantage. And sportsmanship is about everybody getting in a flat playing field.
If they hadn't lost 7-0, I might accept that.
Yeah.
We got hammered.
Yeah.
We got hammered, and I agree with that. But what I'm saying is, if you've only, all right, had that roof open 5 times through the season, to me, when you look at that data and statistics, do you agree that the Astros have played better when the roof's closed?
Now, if the statistics say that, then so be it. I haven't researched
because
it.
That's what I've looked at.
But correlation doesn't equal causation.
True.
So just because the roof is open and they perform better doesn't mean the roof is what caused them to perform better.
Do you not think it's a factor?
It could be, but again, correlation does not equal causation.
To me, it's a factor. Because, as I said to you, I'll go back to you, soft ice, medium ice, and hard ice. It's about feel. There's so much when you get to that level of sport where it's a feel. Because that's repetitiveness. That's how you get... When you get, sport is a feel. It's, regardless what sport you do, it's the feeling that your body, it's like every time, if you're playing basketball.
Right.
There's a memory process to that. It's how it feels. When you hit in baseball, I'm sure that it'd be so interesting to get somebody that really understands the infinite things of baseball to come in and ask them to be perfectly honest. Yeah. Does it make a difference? Or is he just an English guy, quite honestly, not knowing what he's on about?
So I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the game League of Legends. It's a computer game.
I think I have heard of it.
So it's one of the biggest games. It's a free game to play. And the reason I bring this up is their world championship for the game is this weekend. And it's like every team from every country competes to be in it. And there's going to sell out an arena. So like it's a gaming championship and the entire...
Where is this, Jack?
It's going to be in China, I think.
2.2 million is the purse?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
No, and if I showed you guys the opening ceremony, you guys wouldn't believe how much money goes into this. But anyway,
why does it go to China?
Well, it's every year. It's been in Los Angeles before. It's been to Germany.
Oh, okay.
So here's my point though. So this game, even through the championship tournament, they have this thing called patches where they change the game. So every 2 to 3 weeks, they're changing the game constantly. And so as a player, you don't get to decide. That change could screw you over or it could benefit you. But as a player, you just have to be ready to do your best.
To adapt.
And I think that's the point of being a professional athlete is you have to adapt to your environment and what's given to you. So that's why I bring this up.
And I'll completely take that point. I'm not objecting to that. What I'm objecting to is with Major League Basketball coming in and saying that, was any of that affected by what happened in 2017?
The signs, the hand signals, that's what you're talking about? For me, you still got to hit the ball. That's my opinion. You still got to hit the ball. Even if I know you're throwing me a fastball.
Is there a bias from Major League base? I mean, look at the bias there was in 2018, 19, and what the Astros went through. I mean, they went through it really good. And I've got to say, the coach of the Astros and the coach of the Atlanta Braves, I think both of them are class acts.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Completely class acts.
Great guy. Been around a long time.
You know, I really was very impressed with both of them are just complete class acts. Because so much of this to me, honestly, is, you know, sportsmanship. There isn't much of that around in many professional sports these days. But I really thought that both coaches were class acts. I'm not taking nothing away from the Atlanta Braves, but I really feel that when you get to the World Series, the choice of whether it's open or closed should be the choice of the home team.
Yeah. Well, I will say this.
Now, the other side to that is if you the Atlanta Braves and you haven't got a roof,
they don't got a choice.
You haven't got a choice.
Yeah.
So where does it start and where does it finish?
That and of course we'll just have to agree to disagree on this. I personally don't think that controls much of the game, except now if it was storming or windy or something, maybe, or freezing.
But that's another thing.
Let me finish.
But Atlanta, it rained, and then they had to squeegee the.
I get it. I get that. But what I'm saying is the roof being open versus not being open, having a very heavy, effect on the game. I don't think it's that big a deal.
So do you think that when they had rain in Atlanta and they had the rain, that because they had to squeegee the grounds, it made a difference?
I think it can make a difference.
It did make a difference because all the experts and the pundits were saying it is going to make a big difference.
It can make a difference for sure.
Right, it is. Do you know how long the Astros were able to practice before that game?
No.
There wasn't.
But they played the day before, though.
But they wasn't able to go out there and warm up for that game. When you go work out at the gym, should you warm up? Yes. We never used to because I hated it.
As laymen, yes, but these guys are at the top of their profession.
But it's not. It's the minimum detail.
Again, you gotta adapt
to get to maximum performance.
As a professional,
you make $100 million on your contract.
But you're still human.
You are.
Where you've got to warm up.
You have to be ready.
You're the elite of the elite.
Do you think Simone Biles would go out there without warming up?
If she had to.
No, but if she had to,
yes.
She's going to perform.
And she's going to pull muscles and she's going to do all the other things. And she's not going to perform.
But that's her choice.
She's not going to perform to the maximum.
But that's her choice as a professional athlete.
That's like me turning around and saying, as a real estate agent, all right, I'm not going to go out there and prepare a contract or do any research on a property before I look at the property and then I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, that happens a lot.
I still know it does. Just some agents, we don't teach that, but you've got to go out there. All areas are a bit different. All areas have different. You've still got to go out there and do your homework. Yeah. You've still got to go out there with a game plan.
Here's what it sounds like to me. You gotta adapt and you gotta roll with it. Prime example: if your doctor was about to operate on you and say, "Hey, man, I'm not gonna be my best today because I haven't been practicing. I gotta warm up. No, man, get in there and get this lump or
that might be your doctor. I don't want my doctor touching me with any knife.
Put this device in. If it's gonna save my life, get in there and do it.
Well, I'm sorry. I'd rather die of natural causes because if that's my doctor, he ain't touching me at all.
How would you know?
Eh?
How would you know?
Well, hopefully he's going to be honest enough, like the
Well, of course.
Astros was in 2017.
Well, they weren't honest. They got caught.
They cheated.
Right, but so is every other team. I've been told. You told me that, and you told me yesterday.
They got caught.
But what? But was they caught or was they honest?
They got caught.
And then they admitted
They
to
admitted,
it.
right?
But
they could have denied. You deny, because it's like, hey, somebody.
But if you say the N-word and then you're like, oh yeah, I said the N-word, I'm racist. That doesn't make you any less racist. You're still saying the N-word,
Right?
Like,
I don't know.
So just because you admit it doesn't make you any less of a cheater. Now, if they had admitted it first, there's a different precedent there because you're coming.
I
out
agree,
with it.
and I agree with that.
That is true.
But if everybody else is doing it, what do you naturally think?
But just because everyone else is doing it doesn't make it okay.
It doesn't.
So why? That's my point. Why didn't everybody else come out and say, "Well, you know what? The Astros do it. We do. You know, we appreciate them doing it, but we just want to let you know that we do it as well," because that backs up exactly what he just said.
Because they don't care.
Yeah.
But as professional sportsmen earning $100 million a year, what you just said, perhaps they should care a little bit.
They got to perform.
But why would they care? They still make their money. It doesn't affect them. People still show up to their games.
They do.
Because of an old-fashioned thing called sportsmanship. But
Which,
honestly, if my
that's not
doctor
real.
is going in to operate on me, I hope he's got a game plan before he starts cutting.
But he's not going to.
And he hasn't gone out on the piss the night before.
I agree with you. But he's not going to complain that it's too cold in the room because he.
Well, no, because every hospital's bloody cold.
Oh yeah.
When you go there, you freeze your nuts off.
Say, man, I would have performed better if the room was a little bit warmer.
Oh my God, I hate hospitals. They're so cold. It's
I want
like,
to hear that.
Come on.
To me, it sounds like an excuse from whoever's making these excuses. It sounds like an excuse. We can hear it, but ultimately, if they had won, it'd be a non-factor. We'd be having game 7 tonight, and we'd be rah-rah-ree kicking them in the knee, and we'd be ready to go ahead and win the championship. It means nothing.
I wouldn't go as far as to say that. That's not the point that I'm trying to make.
You're talking about the control of the MLB.
I'm telling you about the control of it.
Well, then that's a different argument.
Yeah, it's just a different discussion.
To turn around and say,
it's just a different
who's
discussion.
supposed to be, all right, non-bias, for them to turn around and say,
you got to do it.
You got to do it. You got to have the roof open.
And I don't think that's biased, though, in my opinion.
I don't. If that's what.
So do you think they
saying,
should have the control to do that?
Yes.
It's their in just the postseason. I think they could have the call.
Yeah.
It's short series, I think they can have the call.
And then when the MLB makes that decision, say the Astros or the Braves win, they can't blame the other party. They decided to keep the roof open. It's like the MLB decided to do that. So it's an independent, decentralized team kind of making the decision.
So you don't think that the other games they played and the percentage when they had the roof open and the roof closed has no effect?
No, I'm not saying it doesn't.
Making the decision.
I'm not saying it doesn't, but I think they're taking that deciding factor away from the owners now and say, okay, during the postseason, we'll make the call. So nobody can say, well, you guys only won because the
What do you mean no one can say? I'm saying it.
Well, no one that matters.
In that
make the decision. Because our opinion doesn't matter. It's like we can say whatever we want to say. Those guys aren't going to listen to us. But what I'm saying is, it's just one of those things where you just have to make sure that it's even. If you remove, because they don't care. MLB's going to get paid either way. They don't care who wins.
No, but they might get paid a bit more if there was a game 7.
Oh, well, of course they'll make a little bit more. I think me and my wife talk about that all the time. I was like, babe, there's no money in a sweep. You got to take it out to the
I was
season.
thinking about putting. I think I told you about that post on Instagram, basically to say that they was printing the shirts up for the Atlanta Braves.
Oh yeah.
On Sunday night they started printing them up, getting ready for when the Atlanta Braves win. And I was going to go put a post in Instagram to say, look, the people in Africa need them shirts more than the people over here.
But you didn't do it.
So go send them.
They're getting them, but it says Astros on it.
Mad Monday's just.
It's going to say Astros now.
Yeah, it's not going to say Atlanta Braves.
So speaking of roofs, since we're in that energy, right? Do you know that the record shows with the roof open, the Houston Texans win 25 times compared to 21 losses. So their odds are better with the roof open. But they rarely open that
So let's
thing.
talk about that then with the Texans. So
we should though, and we should move on to what we need to talk about.
No. You brought it up.
But we've been talking about this for 30 minutes, and we have a whole list we need to go down.
So if that's the case, right, you get to a Super Bowl final. Do you have the roof open or do you have it closed?
Whatever the league says.
Whatever the NFL says.